if you have just got yourself the Tecno Camon 30 Pro 5G, here are some very important settings I recommend you tweak before you start using your device. So once you have gotten your device, the very first thing I recommend you do is beef up your security. And to do that, let's get into settings. Then we scroll down to password and security. Now the first three options you have here are lock screen passwords, fingerprints, and face unlock. My recommendation is for you to use just the lock screen passwords and your fingerprints combined together, as the face unlock, in my opinion, is not very reliable. So once you are done setting that up, your new Camon 30 Pro 5G is now about 60% secure. While we're still here in the password and security tab, scroll down and you will find the mobile anti-theft option. Now let's go ahead and get in there. It clearly says here, shutting down the phone with the screen locked requires verification of the screen lock password, which means nobody can turn off this device without actually having your passwords. But with this, your device is now about 80% secure. So the next thing you should activate, still on this page, is the unlock capture. Now come into unlock capture and toggle it on. So what this means is, your Tecno Camon 30 Pro will take pictures of everyone trying to access your device and has failed with the password at least 2 consecutive times. As it's clearly stated here, auto capture after 2 consecutive failed unlocking attempts. While you're still here, go ahead and toggle on the sync to cloud. With this toggled on, every time your device takes a picture of an intruder, it will be saved directly to the cloud. For the next important setting, take a step back, hit on theft alert and toggle it on. Once it's on, go ahead and toggle on the other two. So what this does is, when your device is plugged and charging, whenever your charging cable is pulled out, your Tecno Camon 30 Pro is going to blow an alarm, calling your attention to the situation. And with the last one toggled on, the same goes for earphones. Now, your device is about 90% secure, but let's take a step back. Hit on the last tab which says Find My. Once in, toggle this on. Whatever is required, get it sorted and have this option turned on. So what this does is, if your Tecno Camon 30 Pro is stolen, you can easily track your device with the websites Tecno has provided. And at this point, your device is pretty much 100% secure. Now the next important settings I would recommend you tweak are privacy settings. And to get access to this, come back into settings, scroll down till you find privacy, hit on the privacy tab. Now this menu brings you lots of features that are going to help improve your privacy. You can go ahead and activate them in whatever order you want, but we're going to start now with the vault. So the vault, as the name implies, is your own private storage space for pictures, videos, applications, recordings, that's audio recordings, and documents. So the next option we are going to be looking at is app lock, that's application lock. So when you come in here, you have access to all the applications on your device and you can choose whichever one you want locked without the need of a third-party application. Now the difference between this and the vault. With the vault, any application stored there will not appear in your home page, while every app activated from the app lock will be visible on the home page, but not accessible without your password or fingerprints. So the next thing you can activate here is Pick Proof. With this option turned on, once selected, the unhighlighted parts of the screen will not be accessible. This option is very useful when you want to hide a certain portion of the screen from prying eyes while you're using your device. Now this next feature can be a lifesaver for a lot of you, at least I know it is for me, and that is the App Twin. Now once you come into App Twin, you can select from a list of social media handles you would love to replicate. This comes in very handy, especially with applications like WhatsApp that can only be installed once on a device. Once we're done with this, the next important settings I'll recommend we tweak are more of accessibility. So go back to settings, scroll down to special function. Now once in special functions, we have access to a bunch of features that can help make our device a lot more productive. So the first thing we have here is the dynamic port. Go ahead and toggle dynamic port on, as well as all the functions underneath. This way you have access to face unlock animations, call animations, recording animations, charging animations, and tips animations. Once that is done, let's go back and access floating windows. Now once you're in, go ahead and toggle it on. This gives you access to quick options and applications right at your fingertips, making it easy to access on the go. It is customizable and you can switch things around, as well as choose the applications you want showing up here. When that is done, go ahead and turn on the 3-finger swipe up as well. So what this does is, every time you swipe up with 3 fingers, it minimizes that tab, giving you access to more functions on your device. This way you can have multiple tabs open while you're working. Now back in the settings, the next thing we have down here is Mem Fusion, that is memory fusion. This is not very necessary considering the Tecno Camon 30 Pro comes with 12 GB of RAM. But if you ever feel the need to increase your RAM size, go ahead and hit the Set Virtual RAM and you can decide if you want to add an additional 6 GB, 9 GB or 12 GB of RAM, giving you a total of 24 GB of RAM. Now while we're still here, the next important settings you should tweak would be the kids mode. For those of you who have kids, this is very important. Now once you're in here, go ahead and hit App Management. Now in the App Management, you can decide what applications will be accessible once the kid mode has been turned on. Only applications you selected will be accessible, and to leave the kids mode will require your password. Now while we're still here in the Specials Functions page, go ahead and hit Accessibility. The first thing we see here is Ella. Ella is Tecno's virtual assistant that can help you with all your secretarial duties or tasks. Once activated, Ella can be used to summarize pages, write scripts, and do research. However you want to use her, she is at your service. You also have your Ella Translate, which is to help you with language barriers. And the next option here is Select to Speak. This is basically a text-to-speech function. So when scrolling through your device, you can select a portion of text and have it read out to you. It also works for objects and pictures. Now the next thing you see here is Extra Dim. Go ahead and toggle that on. This allows your device to go dimmer than the factory recommended settings. This can come in handy not only for your eyes, but also to save your battery life. So for the next important tweaking, come back into Settings, scroll down to Display and Brightness. Once you're in here, you can see 2 options between Light Theme and Dark Theme. I would always recommend the Dark Theme because it not only helps in saving batteries, but it's also really good for your eyes. Once that is done, scroll down a bit and you can see Eye Care. Go ahead and activate that as well. So what this does is to reduce screen glare, reducing the amount of harmful rays that go into your eyes. This is very important, especially if you have challenges with your eyesight. Now, directly under that you have High Brightness Mode. Go ahead and toggle this on. Now what that does is help your device attain its maximum peak brightness when under direct sunlight. And the next thing we can work on is Screen Refresh Rate. When you get your device, your screen refresh rate is set to automatic switch refresh rate, which means your Tecno Camon 30 will toggle between 60Hz, 120Hz, and its maximum 144Hz, depending on the usage of this device. This can be very helpful for your battery consumption. However, if you feel the need to run at its maximum refresh rate, you can go ahead and toggle this manually. But do not forget to change it back to automatic when you're done with whatever tasking job you were doing. Now, with that done, let's come down to Ultra Touch. This setting is going to affect your swipe speed and motion speed. Now when you touch on the swipe speed, you see 3 modes. You have normal, fast, and ultra fast. Go ahead and try each of them out just to see which one best suits you. Here is how this works. When multiple tabs are open, your swipe speed can be extremely responsive depending on the settings you choose. So the last thing we can tweak here is the screen timeout. Go ahead and select that. You have options of 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes. I would recommend you set this to 30 seconds as this would help you save on batteries. Another very important thing you need to tweak once you get your Tecno Camon 30 Pro is to activate your IR blaster. Now to do this, pull down or drop down your information panel from the right. You can find here IR remote control. Go ahead and toggle that. Hit the plus sign and you have access to different appliances your device can control. Go ahead and do the necessary settings for all your appliances in your house, ranging from your TVs to air conditioners and a lot more. With this function, you can have access to all your appliances with just one device, rather than have multiple remotes lying around. For the next thing we need to tweak, let's go back into settings and scroll down till we find indicator light. Go ahead and click on that. Now this is what Tecno calls the breathing light. I would recommend you toggle on all the options here. So what this does is turn on the indicator light or the breathing light anytime any of those options activated is in use. So the last set of tweaks I want to show you has to do with the camera. Open the camera app. The Tecno Camon 30 Pro 5G can shoot in 100 megapixels, but in default mode it only shoots with 50 megapixels. So to activate the 100 megapixels mode, go ahead and hit the 100M you see up there. When that is on, you can now make use of its 100 megapixels for taking pictures. Once that is done, tap on this arrow pointing up and have this menu pop up. And once you're here, I recommend you turn on HDR and motion capture. Motion capture really helps when you're taking pictures of your pets or moving objects. Once you've activated both of them, hit on Settings. In this menu, you'll find a list of features that are somewhatly important, starting with the first one, which is the indicator light or the breathing light. I recommend you turn that on. It will give you a notification when you're recording video or when you have the timer countdown on. The next thing is the shutter sound, which you can toggle on or off depending on your environment or your preference. Now scroll down to shooting methods. This is not very necessary, but when activated, your camera can function with voice activation. When you say capture, shoot or cheese, your Camon 30 Pro is going to take a picture. The next thing on this menu is an AI portrait enhancer. This is also based on preference. I'll advise you try taking your pictures with and without it to know which best suits you. Also important to turn on is the scan QR codes. I believe that is self-explanatory. Oh, and just for the fun of it, you can also turn on the notify about dirty lens. This will give you an alert on your screen whenever your lens is dirty. Now for the last tweaks in the camera section, scroll to the right. Tap on more. Now you can have access to options like time-lapse, slow motion, the sky shop, documents, AR space, and AIGC portraits, including panorama. But my favorite feature on this menu is the Pro mode. When you get into the Pro mode, you have full manual control of your camera settings, from its exposure to focus to the ISO and the white balance. Now this is very helpful if you want to have full control of your photos. Also, for your video settings, tap on video, hit the drop down menu, tap on settings, then tap on video quality. Here you can toggle between 4K 60 frames per second, 4K 30 frames per second, 1080p 60 frames per second, and 1080p 30 frames per second. I recommend you try out the different modes and see which one best suits you, but bear in mind, shooting on 4K is going to take way more storage space on your device. That'll be all folks, and if this video has been useful to you, please hit the like button, and also do not forget to subscribe to the channel as we are trying to get to 3,500 subscribers. Thank you for your time. Till we see you again, bye bye.